now in the 7th Perek of Shoftim, and in this Perek we have the beginning part of the actual war. So Gidon, whose name is also Yerubbaal, because of what he was not afraid of the Baal, the Avodah Zarah. He and his men start to camp to get ready to fight against the Midyanim. Now Hashem appears to Gidon and he says, Rav ha'am asher itach, you are too many people. Because what I know is going to happen is that mititias Midyan biyatam, if I give Midyan into your hands and I make this miracle, and this miracle is an amazing defeat for the enemy, they're going to think, Penis be'eralai, Yisrael lemor yadi hoshili. They're going to see and say, it is my hand and my might that was able to be victorious over the people. Now, because Hashem is trying to do it b'derech teva, in the way of a regular happenstance, which is not just one day Midyan wakes up and they have a plague, or one day Midyan wakes up and they are unable to fight, but it is going to look like, and it's going to be under the guise of a war, then it has to actually look like and appear like there is Yad Hashem here. And it's human nature to attribute, if it doesn't seem obviously miraculous, it's very difficult for us to attribute it to a miracle. The truth is, nature and miracles are all really the same. It's the Yad of Hashem playing chess with us. It's the Yad of Hashem, always. And so whether the rain comes down, or there is some rainbow in the sky, or there is a tsunami, or every little rain droplet, did you know that rain droplets don't touch each other? There are so many different ways that it is inconceivable that we could create this reality. Obviously, everything is from Hashem on the one hand, but it doesn't always appear that way. In truth, just like Shemesh Givon Dom, just like the idea that the sun stood still and didn't move, is exactly the same miracle as the sun just rising every day and giving us light and sharing light with the world. And so Hashem is saying it's got to go different. And so the first thing he says is, anyone who is yarei v'charid, anyone who is afraid, go home. Now, most people would be afraid before they go to a war. So I don't know, exactly, it's not on the surface level perhaps, but rather deeper. Anyone who looks inside themselves and who sees that they have an avera, something that perhaps would preclude them from not being the recipient or the conduit for baracha, those people, no, go home. If you know that that's how you are, go home. And ultimately, very interestingly, 22,000 people backed out, and there was only 10,000 who remained. 10,000 people looked inside their soul and said, I don't have any averas. Wow, that's still quite amazing. But Hashem said, nah, that's not good enough. I need it again. So then he says to Gidon, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take everybody to the water, because this is still not going to work. So he takes everybody down to the water, and Hashem says, let them drink. Those people who drink, kol asher yalok b'loshono min hamayim, kasher yilok hakelev. Anyone who drinks like a dog, who licks up the water, he's going to stay. But everyone who went on their knees, they're going to to drink, they are going to have to go home. Now, what's the difference? The difference is Hashem wants that those people who are used to the posture of Avodah Zarah, who are used to selling themselves, so to speak, into a level of servitude, a servitude for whatever it is that is not in the service of Hashem. So they're used to, you should only be using your knees for something of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'anachnu korim mishtachavim umodim. But if you are going to use your knees and be subservient to anything but Hashem, you're out of here. Now, that really got rid of a lot of people, because what they were left with was 300 people. That's it. 300 people. Now, what's interesting is 300 people could say, I don't do any sin, and they drink the right way. In another way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, dating us, and then he's trying to get engaged to us. So you get engaged to the person, he's really making a deeper connection, not just the person who he has a good time with. Okay, that was all those people to start with. But first, he wants people who really, really believe in him and who love him. And then he wants people who really show loyalty to him and not to everyone. They're not just, they have good mitos, and they truly care about Hashem in their actions. And so then he's left with 300 people, and he says, this is good. This is how I'm going to deliver Midian into your hands. This is the rest. Everyone goes home, and then he takes that a step further. And what does he give them? When you're fighting a war, you'd say, okay, so at least, give me a weapon. No, he gives them a shofar to hold. He gives them a jar, an empty jar, and is it really? This is what I'm getting? Yeah. So now we've had experience with Gideon before in last Perek, where he's a little bit more timid, very, very humble, a little bit perhaps too humble. So Hashem says to him this time, listen, we know each other already. If you need extra confirmation, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go down with Pura, who is your Na'ar, who is your servant, and you're going to go into close enough to the other camp, and you're going to hear Midian, Amalek, all the people from Kedem. Now you're going to see they're like locusts. It's so interesting. The first time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu really starts to choose us as a nation, and then woo us, and then, give us all these miracles are in Mitzrayim. And so it's no wonder that the enemy is considered like Arbe, and it's no wonder that they're like Kachol Asher Svas Hayam, Yamsuf. These are all like hint, kind of like remnants of a relationship that we had from the past with Hashem. Hashem is putting a full court press and saying, I love you. I'm going to woo you. I'm going to show you what it means to be in a true relationship. I'm giving it all I got. I'm going back down memory lane in all these different types of hints, which is very beautiful. And Gideon goes there, and he sees and he hears that someone's saying, oh, I had a dream. And in that dream, there is a loaf of barley bread, was the lowest of the low. Remember, barley is really not very significant, and it is in the Midian camp, and it comes to a tent, it hits it falls upside down, the tent collapses. Remember, Gideon, with all of his anava, perhaps, and saying that his shevet is so low, this is definitely something to hit the spot. And the man says to the other man in this experience, he says, "Yeah, you know what that means? That means that Gideon is going to be the one to deliver Midian in the hands of, for the Bnei Israel." Very interesting. What a coincidence. I think not. And so really Gideon then feels really good about this. And what does he do? Vayishtachavu, and he bows down and he says, wow, you know what? Kumu, let's all get up. He now feels like, okay, I am confident. I've got what I need. And so so then he divides the 300 people into 3 columns. He gives them a shofar, an empty jar, and a torch in each jar. And that is not a gun, not a spear, not a weapon. That is really nothing of significance except to say the shofar. Remember, we have Yom Hadin. We have the torch, the lapidos. Remember the lapid. What is that? That is Torah. That is what's inside of us. And the empty jar, Hine kacheres biyad hayotzer. We are an empty jar without you, Hashem. So we are sending out the message, Hashem, we can do this only through you and through the idea that we can find you. We find you through the shofar. We find you through the Torah. We find you. Otherwise, we are empty. And he says, you do exactly what I do. and you blow your horns all around the camp. You blow your horns and you shout out La Hashem Ula Gidon, for Hashem and for Gidon. So this is very, very significant. They are literally, what is it that we shout out at the end of Yom Kippur? Hashem Hua Elokim, Hashem Hua Elokim. So this is the war. This is the war against Midian. This is the war against the enemies. This is the war that we have to find within ourselves, to find out that we can scream out for Hashem and for ourselves, because we, as a believer in ourselves and in what the good things that we do. In any event, Gidon and his men, they get to the outpost, they sound the horns, they smash the jars, they're making a commotion, they're making a noise. It's also reminiscent of Har Sinai. Remember Har Sinai, that there were thunder and lightning and crashes and sounds, and there was shofar. This is going back again in time, a time where Hashem wooed us and we accepted Hashem as our spouse. And we were supposed to remain loyal. And they're doing all of this, and the camp is screaming, and of course the enemies take flight. And for the 300 horns that sound, Hashem made that every single each one of those was like a cherev ish b're'ehu. The horns were like a sword, and the enemies flew and ran away. And Gidon sends messengers all through the countryside of Ephraim, and he says, okay, now go, seize the water. And so that's what Ephraim, which is one of the important Shoftim, right? He said, I'm from Menashe, I'm not from an important Shevet, but now the non-important Shevet guy is telling the important Shevet, go help out, and gives them what to do, which allows, again, everything's coming full circle. Those people that you thought were so amazing and full of kavod, and the Hashem says, wait a second, I'm the one who gives kavod, I'm the one who gives power, so I'll tell you what to do. I'm gonna change it. You think that you're low, just wait. I could do anything, says Hashem, and I think that that's very telling. And then right at the end, they get Oreb and Ze'ev, who are the two major generals of Midian, and they're able to kill them. And that is the end of the Perek. And what's interesting is where they kill them. So they kill Ze'ev at the wine press of Ze'ev, and they kill Oreb at the rock of Oreb, meaning, all of those areas that the Bnei Yisrael were so vulnerable are now the area that they are showing the greatest strength. And that is the end of this Perek. And so what you see from this Perek is an amazing thing. You see the amazing Yad of Hashem in all the little details, not only Rabim Miyad Ma'atim, not only the usual way that Hashem just saves the day and it doesn't matter the number, but it's also in the quality. You see on a more personal level, you see Gidon, who really felt himself so low and who had more humble beginnings, is able to accomplish and to be really amazing and lead those people that that he thought were the more important crew. You see the Midianim, who were so numerous and who made the people perhaps have to go to the wine press and hide what they were doing, and now their leaders are killed just in that way. You see the nature of how the Midianim, who are considered to be like Arbe, with all of the imagery of what we had with Mitzrayim and Yamsuf, you see it all repeating itself, where Hashem is saying, I love you. I want to make sure that this relationship is such that you remember all the good stuff that I did. And you see that Hashem wants it to be miraculous, but he could just make a miracle. Instead, he does it through nature, with the help, so to speak, of natural means. He didn't just make some sort of, epiphany and poof, all the Midianim are gone, but he does it in a way that highlights the Musar of the moment. The Musar of the moment. Do you have the right midos? Do you have the right inner workings? Whatever it is that you need to have, that is what is ultimately going to be the success. What an amazing Perek.